Okay, I hope this camera angle makes sense. Got my camera propped on a very strange, um, not easel, what's the word? Tripod. So if it shakes, I apologize. But this was kind of the inspiration for me to kit up a few projects. This was from Shakespeare's Peddler. It's her new antique birds and cages. All the birds are out of cages. And I plan to change that word from birds to freedom. So I'll have to see, maybe I might have to move a bird, but it's going to say freedom at the top. And I'm doing it in this over-dyed Victorian motto sampler. I put it on a clothespin when I put it in the oven to dry, and it keeps it from getting really tangled. I need to put it on a thread card, but it used to be a lot brighter, and I dipped it in some instant coffee. So it kind of is a deeper, smokier blue. And then here's that lace that I found. It's part of just an old table runner, and I didn't intend to keep that part, but might find something to do with it. And then I dyed some more corduroy, kind of got a little splotchy on this side there, but I won't use that part. And so I just think that's going to be so pretty, and hopefully sort of a quick stitch, all in one color. And this is some vintage country mocha left over from my hot run hollow. So instead of doing it in black, I'm going to do it in blue. And this will be the back, and this will be on the top somehow. So that's the most fun project I was excited to share with y'all. And I'll probably be able to start that one because it's not very big. I think I'll use it as my quarantine sal as I think of freedom and what's really important with family. So anyway, there's that one. The other one I had entertained starting is this little freebie. Last time I said my spring chick was from Sub Rosa. I misspoke. I didn't even realize it, obviously till I had already posted the video. But this is Snowflower Diaries. And there's a little spring witch that I had thought to do in more of a pastel colorway instead of black. Here's the other side of that chick even weave from Hobby Lobby, and I have it tea and coffee dyed, and I'm going to use some combination of these colors here. I can't decide if my witch is going to be pink or purple, and then the flower, but this was my my 6-year-old's request. I have 4 kids, she's 6, getting my numbers mixed up, and I thought that would be a fun little project. It's only 40 stitches by 55, so it's very, very tiny. It'll fit on this little piece of fabric, and that'll be a fun little spring piece. And I wanted to back it with some of this fabric, possibly that I overdye to make it a little bit darker. So there is that, and it will coordinate with the spring chick. Oh, in fact, this is the other color I was going to put on the clouds to make that go together better. So there's another project. This one is free. The Shakespeare Peddler one is only $5. I've been working a little more on my Stacy Nash. Sorry for the crinkles here. My bag is toppling over. It's so full. And I wanted to just update y'all on that one because I am still working on Miss Baxter. She's starting to come in here, and her arms are very weird. And so is her face. She reminds me of Betty Ulan said that she had stitched just this piece, Miss Baxter's, and they called her Olive Oil from Popeye, and she totally does look like olive oil. She's going to go all the way to the bottom of this sampler when I'm finished with her skirt and apron. I'll probably try to post pictures of that later. This will be the bottom. So good progress. I finished the chimney, and I'm still continuing to fill in. I went all the way across the top on the flower border, so love this piece. It's coming along very well, and I'm not sure where the threads are on that one. Here they are. Called for mostly. I'm using a few DMC because I was a little afraid about the border that I would run out, so didn't use that. And then I'm subbing out the old hickory on those logs for the DMC, but I don't see it right here. It must be in my other bag. So there's that one. It lives in my dad's project bag that he made for me, my favorite project bag. Oh, there's the old hickory substitute. I just have it all wadded up. So There's Miss Baxter. I have also been working on another Stacy Nash. This is kind of my focus for the year, Stacy Nash pieces with Murky. I told you this 40 count has been giving me fits in my last video, but I actually had a little bit of a breakthrough with the stitching there. It finally started to click, and I also think it helped. I must have started in a bad spot that had some weird slubs or some weird slivers of linen, because I hadn't had as much trouble up here. I do have to hold it really close to my face and stitch very carefully, but it's only one strand, so that helps. And I don't think I'm going to do all of this border here around. I don't think it really impacts the design significantly, and I may not even put pins here. I might put something else. But I'm watching several floss tubers lately, not several, specifically Tina from For Love of the Stitches, when she says, I didn't really feel like this border added a lot, so I just didn't stitch it, or I did this with one half cross instead of full cross on all this line of grass. I thought, that's something I need to learn from, because I like the design without that just as well, and it really does take a lot of time. So I am working on her and loving that one. And I have some new ones here. This is a Market. Oops. Did I just show that pattern? I'm going to have to edit that out. Here's my new Market purchase. One of them was only $4. It's a small little Humble Honey. It's the bee's knees, and now we have all these Be Kind or Be Well stitches that might coordinate as well, but this one was fun. And then I did print off Kathy Haberman's or Haberman's anniversary chart that she does each year, and I thought I would use the same colors. I don't really feel like this really screams bees to me. It has the honeycomb, is that called a back stitch when it's just like that, or a straight stitch? But I had thought to do that on this same fabric that I'm using for Humble Honey, which is just a overdye that I made myself. I had dyed this a couple times and I didn't like any of the color I was getting, so I just threw it in black. I said, forget it, I'm just gonna make this as dark as I can. So it's kind of a charcoal. I think it used to be green under there, but I was tired of it, so I put that out, and it's been sitting in my stash for a while with not any plans. It's not a very big piece, so I couldn't do a good, chalkboard piece from Priscilla on it necessarily, but this is good for this piece. I'm using Deep Blue Sea for that kind of blue accent on the letters, and then this is a Victorian Motto Sampler Bees Cap, and 3865 and 523. So I'll use the same colors. There's enough fabric for both of these little pin keeps, and I might start those now, or I might do a couple mania starts that I hadn't intended to do. So that's just staying in a plastic file sleeve that I had, and those two are going to be kind of companions. The next one I wanted to show you, I haven't updated you on in a little while. Oh, that's the chart. I can't pull out the chart here. My Hawk Run Hollow piece. I have had ups and downs with this piece. It makes me a little bit anxious in some ways because it's so big, but I have worked on it some more, and I'm getting closer to that fourth block being done. I had a few mistakes in the fill-in on the house, Opal boarding house sign, where I had to do some half stitches along the edge of the H. I could have ripped it all out and got it back on track, because apparently when I did the lettering first and then the fill-in around, my H was half a stitch over, which I didn't think you could see it that well. Maybe you can, but for me, it was more important to keep moving. So I did not rip it all out, and I made half stitches along the edges there, and I don't think you can tell. So there she is. It's so beautiful. I still really love these colors. It makes me think of fall. Maybe that's why I'm not as into it right now. It's a little bit more of a chore to pull it out, but I was working on some more grass, and I checkerboarded this in a different way than they charted, because I did all the checkerboard up here on these trees, and I use the DMC conversion, and you can see it here in the light, but when you're just looking at it from a distance, you can hardly tell all the work that I did to get that checkerboarded, which I guess it does add some texture. I can see that through the video here, but I just felt like it was kind of a poor payoff for the extra work. So this time I changed it. Instead of, I think it was called for dark and medium of these greens, I did dark and light. So, and I had debated about ripping that out, asked if that felt too retro to y'all, and I got a lot of good feedback that it was fine. So just have to put some curtains, a little bit more of that house. There's some dogs on a fence over here, and the rest of that's fine. And that one will be ready for block 5. This is vintage country mocha, 36 count, 2/2, which I think for this piece is a really good choice. It is a little bit bulky. It does make me have to use my Stitchy Pop needle for those little tiny stitches not to get too bogged down. But on these bigger blocks, that was a little tricky. So anyway, look at how much I'm liking this shading now. I used to say I couldn't see it, but I really can today. So anyway, there's Hot Crown Hollow, and I'm continuing to work on her. I pulled out a few of my WIPS that were put up for, and this is in no particular order. I'm not really going in a good order, that were archived. I had made a video at the end of the year about sort of not feeling the pressure of these WIPS, but continuing to work on them. Eventually just kind of putting them in acid-free tissue paper, which this is what that kind of looked like, so that I know they'll be safe, and they're in plastic, so they won't be water damaged in any way. But this one kept niggling in the back of my mind. I just really love it, and it's charted with DMC, but I found these hand dyed by Rolanda Silks, and this is a dinky dye silk. Oh, sorry, I'm out of frame. And I just love those. They're so pretty and variegated and soft. So the dinky dye too. So this one was calling my name. I haven't put any stitches in it yet. In fact, I'm just opening it up with y'all. That backside had some oopses. This fabric I dyed myself with scarlet and some cocoa brown. Kind of tried to get some modeling there, and I'm recharting this from an alphabet to say, I wrote it down here, gracious words are like a honeycomb. And it is called the Three Suns sampler. Also, that's kind of a side note. The designer made inside the work basket is the designer. But I'm going to use the conversion that she put for girls. You can see the boys there on either side of the house. And I have 3 girls and 1 boy. So I was going to try to maybe move one of those birds and put my little boy and my 3 girls. So very good words for siblings, I think. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, and there is a bee on that piece with a bunch of them flying around. So I thought that was appropriate. No, there's the honeycomb in the corner there, the little biscuit. So love this one. It's really quirky and fun, but I wanted to pull it back out because I was missing it. Look how pretty those stitches look. They almost look like lemons, but I love it on the red. So Yellow House sampler by the Work Basket. Found it. It has a green dot because I think I paid $2 for it at Fancy Stitches in Cleburne. So there's that one. Let me clean these up. I'm starting to get too big of a pile, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, y'all, and I am sorry. I just realized that my camera is actually turned vertically. So hopefully you can see this better. I have a very strange tripod, as I mentioned before, so it's very precarious, but we'll see how this goes. This is another one that's been calling my name. I love Not Forgotten Farm, and a lot of people were working on this tomato season. Just a giant tomato. I started for Mania last year and thought I would put away, but I decided to get it back out again. It is really kind of mindless stitching. Initially, I had seen these giant expanse that I had to fill in and thought, oh no, that's just too much. But I'll work on it a little more. It's a couple thousand stitches for this tomato, which is kind of insane, but I think it's going to be really cool when it's finished. And I am using, I was showing this tomato by Gas. This is a 10-yard skein, so I think I'll have enough. My Jenny took a full 5 yards, but this, like I said, is 10, and I haven't used it for anything else but that. I just thought it was a little bit brighter and had a little more movement than the charted dark copper. So to me, my tomato's a little more reddy and bright, and this one is called, appropriately, tomato. So that is a fun piece, and I'm, like I said, getting that out of kind of deep storage because I've missed it. So if I'm thinking about it, that tells me it needs to come out of deep storage. I'm also thinking about my Wizard of Oz piece. I found these online, the PDFs for the last 3. The first one I bought, I think through 123 Stitch, but I haven't seen this one in a long time. My back is a mess. Here is my Scarecrow. He's all the way done, and I've started on to Dorothy over here. She's going to have some red, I think I have some red Krynic in here. Oh, it's in my Mirabilia piece that I did not pull back out. But yeah, just the DMC, a big old tangle of it. And just for nostalgia, this piece reminds me of my favorite Wizard of Oz movie. I think it's so cute. I'm going to put it upstairs in our kids' playroom. And it'll go, I have some other Wizard of Oz collectibles as well, like a Laurie Mitchell Dorothy. Sorry for the crinkles. So that'll go together. This freebie here, I wanted to do it Valentine's Day, but it is appropriate all year round. I already did a Barbara Anna piece by the same name, but this is Love Never Fails by the Primitive Hair. It's a free chart. You can find it online if you search her blog. And I have this little primitive thread keep that I got from Homespun Sampler or Sampler. I don't know if you say that differently. Just because I love red shoes and I walk around with one shoe sometimes or one sock. So it made me laugh. It's a little creepy, but it's still fun. And I'm going to find some red thread to put on her and stitch that probably with the other side of what's left of my Shakespeare's Peddler bird piece. I think I have enough for both of those. And I have some red corduroy that I dyed for that. Mary and the Librarian, I hunted down. She's now available on Kitten Stitcher, but I thought that was so cute. It's a really retro pattern, la-di-da. Very, very tiny. But I started this on a piece of fabric that is probably too small, and I can't decide what I'm going to do because the stitching is going to go from here to here. This is the middle, so I've folded it and made sure I have enough, but I may just use this with raw edging. It doesn't seem to be fraying too bad. I might use this kind of as a raw edged piece and just continue because I really like the colors, the blue and the red and this green on the light blue. So the other problem I noticed, oops, did I just show the chart? Sorry. Her dress is actually not charted for the polka dots. That's just open space. And if I'm doing this on a blue fabric, I'll just have to wait and see how it looks. If I don't like the looks of the blue spots through this gold kind of thread, then I might have to do like an ecru and do more stitching for this. But it, like I said, it's a teeny tiny little piece. It's almost like a bookmark. So a big bookmark, but still a bookmark. This is 28 count even weave in light blue from Hobby Lobby. So I've been thinking about her. I did so few Mania finishes that I really wanted to catch a few of these that are so tiny that I could do feasibly within a week or so. So there's that one. And this is for my next piece in my capsule. I'm doing 4 berries this year. I had already done the sunflower berry for my mom last year. You can find that in earlier videos and on Instagram. And I was almost done with the nativity berry, but I got tired of it. It made me mad. And then I wanted to do this honeyberry. The patterns on these Erica Michaels kind of frustrate me because she never shows what the rest of the berry looks like. Like even on the back, any part of it, you can't see the whole berry. And there's actually like some flowers on the side of that Gather Honey All the Day. I can't show you because it's only on the chart. But I'm anxious to see what that looks like. I'll probably dull these colors down. I have this spiced mustard. I've tried to use it a couple of times from Color and Cotton when I was getting that monthly, and it's never worked. But on this earthen, I think that'll be pretty. And this was a scrap from my friend Judy, so thank you for that. And it's a very minimal stitching. I really think I can get it done. I don't like the way she put the leaves on top, just personally. I have some more felt, and I'll do a bigger leaf so that it looks more like a strawberry. And I'll probably put some ribbon and bells and junk up there, antique buttons. It'll be fun. So that was slated to be started in my next capsule, but I might start it early, like I said. Then this one I wasn't supposed to pull out again until later, maybe even in June, and I just miss it. This is the oops, there's a little bit of chart there, just the leaves. All Creatures Great and Small. Look at that color palette. It's beautiful. It's charted in anchor. I went ahead and got the anchor threads on 1, 2, 3 stitch, and I'm doing this on 40 count mallow. That is kind of a raw, like undyed linen, but I think it looks really pretty with the colors. And look at that, it's so pretty. I love Barbara Anna. So I am wanting to pull this one back out again. That was almost a page finish. I think it was a page finish other than these leaves, but I wanted to put in another page of this and get toward the let's see what's coming up next, the bees and the Adam and Eve. I also love that church down here. Oh, I think that's a church. The way that side is shaped and the windows are kind of cathedral style. So love it, love it, love it. Been missing it. Been thinking about it. I think this is more my style of stitching than some of the antique samplers, which some of them have motifs like this. They are kind of similar, but this is just kind of more funky. And I just really enjoy that. So anyway, that's one I want to pull out again. And then almost done, another Mania start. This is Educated, has the bolded cat letters, and it is being stitched for my, oh, what is she called? Tortoiseshell. I keep showing charts. Doggone it. And it's small, but here's her head. She's got a little blue collar to kind of match the other library pieces. I had 3 library pieces in Mania. I haven't finished any of them. So I can finish these too. I really think I can. It's teeny tiny. And I've got some threads in here that I want to free up. I don't want to keep monopolizing them in charts. So wanted to get those knocked out, and we'll probably put a little bit of work in. Then I have a new start that I wanted to talk about because I showed the threads a couple videos back for the potting shed. I've admired this piece for a while. There's a series of them with that little sign in the corner. There's a Christmas one that says December 25th and a Halloween one with a witch. So I wanted to do all 3 of these, probably on a tray instead of as a pillow. But I had this scrap of bramble, and sorry, I said it came from Judy, but this was actually from Leslie Hurley and a giveaway I won. So it was a fat quarter, and it'll fit 2 designs that I'm working on. This one is not very big, but like I said, I had so many problems with the threads. I wanted to show you what I had done. This is clay pot, and it was straight up pink this morning, but I took some orange grit dye, and I also added brown to make it a little bit more of a terracotta color, and I like it so much better now. It's still a little bit pinkish, and I probably have dye on my hands from doing that, but it's much more what I was looking for. So it kind of matches those a little better, but you can still see some of the dye didn't take. This is kind of over dyeing and over dyed, so it may have been that my dye wasn't concentrated enough, but I still am much happier with it now. It looks much more like a clay pot than it did when it was just straight up pink. So there's that strand. And then I did this avocado one a little blotchy. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but leaves are supposed to be variegated in nature, and they may have, splotches. So I just dunked it in, this one I dunked in instant coffee. I didn't want to make it totally brown, so I tried to stripe it on there, and that's where I got a little bit, you can see there, I got a little bit clumpy. And I also clipped it in a clothespin, kind of like I did with the blue that I showed you earlier, and I guess where the clothespin was clipped, it kind of collected the dye. But I just dried it out in the oven at 220, and I think it's much more usable than it was. It was way too bright. But this is really pretty, and I think it'll look nice for those leaves. My daughter's singing in the background. I also had a brown that I tried to stripe with black, and now it's hiding. Here it is. I had this DMC, I think it was 801, which is just a reddish brown, and I tried to stripe this with black, kind of to make like a, what I think of as like black coffee from Classic Colorworks, or one of those kind of muddy colors. And I wanted to do that for her skirt because the brown that's charted, or that they put on here, cider mill brown, is not really the color I wanted for her skirt. So this is kind of what I came up with. I won't really be able to see the variegation, I don't think, until I stitch with it, but I can kind of see it. You can see that it's not just straight brown anymore. So there's that one, and two more. I'm almost done. This is a huge pile of stuff, but it was fun just to get it all ready to stitch and to look at it, and I thought you might like to too. And then this one I've worked on for the whole year. I wanted to just kind of give you a glimpse of the chart, give you an update. This is what they look like all together so far. Here's the dove I did last month for February. Here's the Santa from January. And then this is the rooster for March. And that's the tail. The top of it is going to be this color here, this red. And I think they're so pretty. I really like the way, let me push those over, like the way they're looking together. I'm going to finish them in a round finish, not the way they are here. Probably I'm going to try to find some paper coasters, and I'm not sure what kind of finish around the edges. Anna's wanting banana bread, so I better hurry. We made some fresh banana bread today. It smells delicious. And the last one I wanted to show you was my unicorn chart that is no longer a unicorn. This came from Dollar Tree, this little cat pouch. I got this in the mail and made a copy so that I don't mess it up, because it is out of print Birds of a Feather Sally Spenser. I looked online last night at everybody's color choices in the Sal's. There's over 250 different ways to stitch this, just about, that you can find on Instagram. But I'm going with some of the called for. I had the Buckeyed Scarlet. I stole it from another project, and I love that red. So that's going to be my red on the bird and on the edges. And then I couldn't find my black crow. I know I have some black crow for that dark pot at the bottom, and some of those darker blues. It's actually like a navy. It looks black, but it's more navy. But instead I'm using my carriage black that are charted for my pigs. It's kind of a dark charcoal with black, and I have enough of it. So this was a piece of linen that I had intended to stitch Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs, but I don't know when I'll get to that one. My Halloween plate is already kind of full, and so I nicked it for this project. It did I say it's R&R? It's a Lakeside linen that I got at Fancy Stitches, and for whatever reason, I guess I just can't have nice things. On my way home from the store, I picked up my kids, and my daughter's lunchbox leaked water all over this linen, and it made me want to cry. But I just rinsed the whole thing down and dried it, and it's still pretty. It looks fine, but yeah, not what it was charted for. And I can't remember what it was, if it was a pecan butter, one of the nice dyes that they have. And I'm substituting some of the Brethren Blues for DMC and 502 instead of that Tropical Ocean. So mine will be unique. I looked at Susie Reno's too on Instagram and noticed her stitching of the alphabet with eyelets. So I might try that. But you have to adjust it a little bit because the letters don't quite fit in groups of 4, which you need for an eyelet. So there is my quarantine stitching stash dive projects that I'm really excited to get to work on, especially that antique birds one. I was looking for that real quick to pull that out one more time to show you, but it's hiding. I have a big mess now, but I had a big mess before, so that's okay. But this will be the 2 starts I'm definitely going to spend a little more time on. I already started Sally Spenser last night because I couldn't wait. And then I'm going to be starting Antique Birds because it's small. And I'm just really excited about my plans to use this lace and this hand-dyed corduroy. So I hope y'all are finding lots of time for projects instead of anxiety and feeling peaceful and at rest with your family. So prayers for you all. Have a great stitchy day.